Welcome back to the Anfield Exchange, and it's that time. It's the game in hand. It's the dreaded game in hand that we've been speaking about for probably a month and a half now. Arsenal are 6 points behind us. We've got Everton to make it 9. The last ever Goodison derby. So Everton are going to be bang up for this. And like I say, this could take us 9 points clear with 14 games left to play. It's almost there if we can get a win here. What I would say is, look, the fans are going to be bang up for it. David Moyes is back, arguably Everton's most successful manager, certainly in my lifetime. I think Everton have been in the best spell under Moyes in his first patch, where with the likes of Cahill, Fellaini, Leighton Baines, and they made it hard for us back then. And I expect more of the same tomorrow night. What I will say is, it is on Liverpool to play the game, not the occasion. I don't believe that Arne Slot will be putting any focus whatsoever on this being the last game at Goodison. I don't think that really matters in the grand scheme of things. We're playing for bigger things here. I think Everton are probably going to make it more of a thing than what it is, and try to drag us into that. But yeah, I don't think we need to play any part in that. Obviously, David Moyes is the Everton manager now. I also believe that this is probably better for Liverpool than if Sean Dyche was in charge. I think the way Sean Dyche used to play was obviously with a low block, play on the counter, and their sole focus was to keep a clean sheet. And I think Liverpool in the past have struggled against teams like that. I think with David Moyes in charge now, I think he's still trying to develop that identity. They've played a few different ways, to be fair, since he came in. The Aston Villa game, in his first game, they were playing quite direct. I think in the Tottenham game, where they won 3-2, they were trying to get a ball down and play. And I think to be honest, I think the Everton fans will be expecting a certain level of creativity from Everton. I think just purely with David Moyes being in as coach, they'll all be happy as Larry that David Moyes is back, and he'll have to try and prove to them that he is still that same manager, and he will be on the front foot and try and get Everton back to where they are. And if you remember when David Moyes was manager, Liverpool and Everton weren't that far away. I think there was one year where we were both battling for fifth spot, which was that year Champions League, or fourth spot. And I don't think Everton and Liverpool were too far away, and that's where David Moyes will be looking to get back to. I don't think he's going to shut up shop and just try and frustrate Liverpool. I genuinely think he's going to have a go at us, and the players that he's going to have on the pitch, he's probably going to select based on creativity. I think Ndiaye, Beto, players like I just think David Moyes can't really afford to sit back and defend, and even if he could, he can't do it as well as Sean Dyche. So, yeah, I think it's good for us that David Moyes is a manager as opposed to Sean Dyche. What I will say is the last 10 matches we've played at Goodison, there's been 7 draws. I'm a little bit worried about this game. I think, like I say, with it being the last game at Goodison, the atmosphere is going to be electric, and how will an Arne Slot team, how will these players deal with that? We've seen them deal with it in the past, but under Jurgen Klopp, we were a very passionate team with a very passionate manager, and we seem to be more controlled. So I have high hopes that we will dampen the mood early on. Look, how I expect it to play out is I expect that we're not going to go all gung-ho like we did against Tottenham. I think we will probably look to take the noise away from the crowd by keeping control of possession, dominating the play, and just passing it around, just to quieten the crowd. Because if we go gung-ho and Everton score first, the crowd are going to be on at us, and the pressure is going to be on. I think the first goal in this game is massively, massively important, and I think Liverpool will do well just to take the sting out of the game in the first 20 minutes. That's my opinion. I think in terms of the game, I think depth could be key in this game. Everton are missing a few players. They're missing McNeil, Calvert-Lewin, Mangala, Mikalenko potentially could be back. Whereas Liverpool are missing Joe Gomez and potentially Trent Alexander-Arnold. If you look at the depth that Liverpool have in comparison to Everton, I think we obviously have more players that can come off the bench and make an impact, and I think that could be the decisive factor in this game. But we'll have to wait and see. In terms of Trent Alexander-Arnold, we know he's trained today. Will he play against Everton? Will he start? I'm not so sure. I think we'll probably see Conor Bradley in that right back position. I think it's probably a little soon to throw him into it, and he's probably going to have to be eased into it a little bit more. It's also a very physical game for him to come back into. It will be a physical game, so I'm not sure if I would risk him in that aspect of things. Also, Ndai playing on the left wing. I actually think it might be beneficial for us to play Conor Bradley. I think defensively wise, I think there's less chance of Conor Bradley getting caught out at right back than there would be of Trent, just because of how Trent pushes forward and leaves spaces in the defence. So yeah, I think I would probably be playing Conor Bradley in this game and maybe get Trent on with the last 20 minutes or so to just get some minutes into his legs, or if we're trying to chase the game. That would be my preference. Yeah, some key battles then. I think Cody Gakpo on the left. He's going to be coming up against a 6'4" centre back / left back, right back. Sorry, in Jake O'Brien. I've not seen much of him this season, but it reminds me of Dan Burn playing at left back for Newcastle. Not the most agile. And I would worry for Everton in terms of Gakpo running at him, cutting inside. I think there's going to be plenty of opportunity for Gakpo to get the ball, plenty of opportunity for him to try and take on Jake O'Brien, and hopefully supply put some supply into the box for the strikers. Personally, he's on form. He's Gakpo. So if I'm Jake O'Brien coming up against left wingers, Gakpo's probably the last left winger I want to come up against in the league at the minute, with the form that Gakpo's been on. Like I just touched on, I think Bradley and Ndai could be another potential battle to keep an eye on, because Ndai is a tricky character. He's tough to take the ball off, and he's quick. So yeah, I think Bradley v Ndai would probably be a better suit for Liverpool than Trent versus Ndai from a defensive aspect. Obviously, we know what Trent offers us going forward. One of the biggest things for Liverpool, I think the team pretty much speaks for itself. I think there's two positions. I think the right back position for this game is up for debate, and I think the striking position for this game's up for debate as well. Reason for that, obviously we played against Plymouth, and Luis Diaz and Diego Jota pretty much played 90 minutes each. Had very little impact. We all know how that went. I'm not going to touch on that too much. But yeah, for me, if I'm on his slot, I'm not punishing them, but I'm letting them know that they are not the standards that we set for Liverpool, and I'm not starting any of them in this game personally. I would go for Núñez. I think Núñez recently, certainly in the game against Tottenham, he played very well despite not scoring. I thought he was brilliant work rate defensively, and I thought his link-up play in and around the edge of a box was a lot better than what it has been. So for me personally, I think I would go for Núñez as a number 9 in this game. In terms of how the league looks, look, this is one of those moments where it can define who the champions are. I think back to when we were challenging Man City for the title, and I remember the game Man City played Leicester, and Vincent Kompany took the ball forward, struck the ball from 20-25 yards into the top corner. Those are the moments that define those title wins, and I think this game could be one of those moments, and I think we will see a big moment from somebody which will not quite decide where the title's going, but we'll look back on it at the end of the season and we'll think, wow, what a massive moment in the season that was. It's a moment of champions, as I describe it. I think what we need to do as well, look, Liverpool have been in that chasing position all too often, and we know exactly how it feels when you're looking at a fixture. You're potentially thinking that um, there could be a slip up or something's not quite going for the team. We know how that demoralises us as Liverpool fans. Again, I can go to that company moment where it actually felt like Leicester could get something out of that game, and then towards the end of the game, company obviously did what he did. It demoralises you, and I think we have to do that to Arsenal tomorrow. I think they will be looking at this game on paper, hoping that we'll drop points, and on paper that is a possibility. But we need to make no mistake about it that we will be 9 points clear. We've got a very, very tough run coming up. We've got 5 games in the next 15 days. We take on Wolves at the weekend, and then it's Villa, then Man City, then Newcastle. We've got some big, big fixtures coming up. We're going to need to use all of our squad. And we are going to drop points in these next 2 weeks, I would imagine. But we can't let it be tonight, because if we drop points, tomorrow night, if we drop points tomorrow night, it puts pressure on Liverpool to go and get results in the next 4 games after this one. I think we need to get off to a good start and get the win against Everton. And then, look, if we drop points against the Man City and we pick up a draw or an Aston Villa, it's one of those things. We're expecting to drop points, but we don't want to drop too many. And if we don't get off to a perfect start tomorrow night with the Everton game, then in 2 weeks' time, the league table could be looking a lot different to what it looks like now. In terms of a predicted lineup, I think most of it speaks for itself. We've touched on a few positions. I think we're looking at Alisson in goal. I think we will be looking at Conor Bradley at right back. Again, I think if Slot thought that Trent would be available, I think Conor Bradley would have started at the weekend against Plymouth. I don't think Trent will be quite there, and I think Bradley starts this one. We're going to be looking Canate, Van Dijk, and Robertson at left back. I think he's sort of come away from that little sort of competition between him and Costas, and he's back solely into the first choice reckoning. I would say, for me personally, I think Robertson's head and shoulders over Tsimikas. Midfield 3 speaks for itself. We're looking at Gravenberch, McAllister, Szoboszlai. I don't think there's any reasoning that needs putting on those players. They've been brilliant for us. I think that is very much our first free midfield now. I'll be surprised if any of them don't start. In terms of strikers, we're going to look at Salah, we're going to look at Gakpo, and like I said, I personally would be playing Darwin Núñez in this game. I think in Branthwaite and Tarkowski, we saw it against Nottingham Forest, Murillo and Milenkovic. When Luis Diaz played up front, they didn't follow him. They just let him have the ball, do what he did on the edge of the box, and I think we're in for a similar game tomorrow. I think Arne Slot uses Diaz as a number 9 to try and tempt the centre-backs out. I don't think we'll see that from Branthwaite and Tarkowski, if I'm honest. I think we will probably be better off with Núñez giving those guys a bit of a battle and a bit of a physical battle as well at that. But we'll have to wait and see. We don't know. We'll see how that goes tomorrow. We'll keep an eye out on the lineup. In terms of a score prediction, I'm quietly confident in this game. Probably more confident than I should be. I'm going to go for a prediction of Liverpool 3, Everton 0. And I'm going to go for a Darwin Núñez goal. Yeah, Darwin Núñez. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll see you on the next one.